Done. All right. Fine, thank you. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I welcome all of you for today's session that is associated with the basic orientation and I would say a workshop related to sociology. So, a lot of you have been present, especially the students who were attending this session online. You were present on 16th, and we discussed a lot of do's and don'ts associated with sociology. I said that today's session will be primarily based on FAQs. So, no PPTs like the previous session, nothing like too fancy engaging you with other miscellaneous, I would say, things which have been previously discussed and which gave you an overview about the session. Today, I would be focusing on addressing the basic questions which students suffer from related to the preparation. So I received certain mails which I had said that all of you can just share any concern that you have, and I would be responding to it accordingly. So the mails that I received, they had certain common questions. I'll be addressing that. Okay, so good afternoon Rinki and Ankur and Anju, Sanjay and Darshan, Ankit, Misbah and all other students who are continually logging in, Gurmanjot, all of you. And students who are present live or offline as well. So the session is going to be in this hybrid mode. It is going to be like offline students as well as the online students. I will see to it that every single student and his or her concern is duly addressed. Offline will have just an extra advantage that even after the class is over, you can sit with me in person. The online students will have the advantage that you will be able to reach out to me. I mean, you can just drop a text to me related to the problem you are experiencing. Maybe it is associated with a topic or a notes or how to go ahead with probably any issue which you are unable to solve, even something which is non-academic if you are stuck up with. And because there are GS sessions also, so once the classes are over and I'm free, I'll reach out to you. Generally, the official timings is what I respect. Is possibilities. There are some common questions that I have received. I'll be addressing them. In between also, if you have any queries, you can just address. So the very first question which I had received was related to the best time to start preparing optional subject. Few students mailed me that, ma'am, is this the right time to start with the optional subject, especially when we are appearing next year? One of the students also texted that is appearing next to next year. Is this the right time to start with the optional subject? So to which I will be sharing that this is the best time, because optional should be prepared by December, max by January. Because once you prepare the optional subject, preparing the notes, doing the FAQs, dealing with previous year questions, making all the key notes associated with each and every topic, in that situation, you all will be able to see this given dimension that optional, once it is done, all you have to do is only I would say content updation. Content updation means there are some dynamic topics, like let's say population. So this year the census would be coming, right? And once the census is in public, definitely the notes gets updated. Like let us say there is some new data related to urbanization, some new data related to agriculture. In that situation, you will be realizing that the content which is associated with paper 2 sociology, that will require some updation, because this is one of the most dynamic optional subjects that you can come across. It's highly updated with the GS paper as well. So what is advisable in this given case is that you can just go ahead with completing your optional subject by December, max to max January. Okay, what is the schedule? How to go ahead with it? So the number of classes, which I have also previously shared, and I repeat myself once again, the number of sessions that we are going to have is going to be something closer to 90 sessions. In previous batches, I have taken something closer to 90 sessions. Like the 2020 COVID batch was like super smart. They were like catching up with the material, they were preparing notes. Probably everyone was stressed out about how to go ahead with the exam. So that batch completed its course by 84 sessions itself. Whereas the last batch took 92 sessions. So we'll keep a fluidity of 5 plus, 5 minus, depending on your batch, because that subjectivity is always entertained. Suppose I'm teaching a topic, like let's say family, marriage, kinship, and you get stuck up with some technical jargons and you're like, oh God, I'm unable to understand what is bilateral kinship. And though ma'am explained it in the last class, I want a fresh explanation once again. So I'll be giving that explanation once again to the students, whosoever are getting stuck with the technical terms. In such a situation, a session may stretch up. So despite giving you a planner, I give a planner in advance, like you will be receiving a planner soon. So when you get a planner, you have an idea that by which number of dates, which number of topics would tentatively be completed. That idea all of you would be having. But despite that fact that the planner would be following itself diligently and religiously, if suppose there is a topic which stretches up a little, then in that case the planner will also, overall planner will also get pushed, and in that case rather than 90 sessions it can become 91 or 92. Or suppose if you people are smart and you finish a topic, rather than taking 4 sessions for it, you take 3.5 sessions for it. So in that case again you will be realizing that the possibility of completing the syllabus rather than 90 sessions, it can become 88. Okay, so we'll keep that fluidity open. So there are few more questions that you people are asking me in time. So Anju, as you are asking that आपकी graduation हिंदी मीडियम में हुई है और UPSC आपने इंग्लिश मीडियम में चूज किया है, तो सोशियोलॉजी ऑप्शनल क्या आप इंग्लिश मीडियम में स्टार्ट कर सकती हैं? जी हाँ, बिल्कुल, आप सोशियोलॉजी ऑप्शनल जो है उसको इंग्लिश मीडियम में अंजू आप स्टार्ट कर सकती हैं. एंड और ये याद रखिएगा कि मैं धारा प्रवाह अंग्रेजी में ही लेक्चर्स लूंगी, बिकॉज बहुत सारे बच्चे होते हैं जो दक्षिण भारत से होते हैं या उत्तर पूर्वी भारत से होते हैं, तो उनको मतलब ये चाहिए होता है कि क्लासेस सिर्फ इंग्लिश में ही हो. और वैसे भी जितने भी टेक्निकल टर्मिनोलॉजीज हैं, ऑल द टेक्निकल टर्म्स have to be understood and memorized in English. So you will have to just pull up your socks a bit if in case you get stuck up in any part of the session. Because in last batch there was a student from Kolkata, but he was a big time hustler, I must say. This child, he struggled with English big time. He was like, ma'am, the English in which you teach, it's like a bit tough for me. So I was like, I can understand. And he was a Bengali medium student. So in every session, once in a while, when he used to get stuck up, he used to note down those sentences. Then after 5 or 10 minutes, I used to receive a typed message that, ma'am, can you explain this expression once again? So for him, I used to take a minute off, explain that in Hindi, and told the students that, okay, this is a simpler explanation for Bhanu. I still remember his name. So I was like, this is a simpler explanation for Bhanu. And bit by bit, he caught up with the language. So initial sessions, he used to raise at least 5 to 7 doubts. Later on, it minimized to 2 or 3 doubts. And towards the end, he was like, I would say, super smart, and his answers were quite intelligently articulated. So I believe that anyone can catch up. The only thing that is needed is commitment to catch up. That's what. No, the classes will not be conducted on YouTube for free. This is not the agreement that has been done by the management, Sanjay, because you can understand there are a lot of people who are it's not a one-person show, and it's not like a solo venture. It is something in which a lot of people are making an effort, from the typist to the electrician to the the tech team. Everyone is making an effort, and everyone deserves a salary, right? So the way you go to a college or university and you pay a fee for it, in the similar manner, this is not a free course, this is a paid course. Can you please tell me the main difference between sociology and public administration? Well, Darshan, as the subject, like the name of the subject you are aware of, it is sociology. Sociology literally means science of society. And when we talk about, like, let's say the science of society, what I imply to say is, can you please sit down because you're blocking the camera, darling? Okay. No problem. So, when we are talking about the science of society, what I imply to say is that when we make a systematic inquiry to study the society, the discipline actually implies to make a systematic inquiry to study the society, what was unfolding in the society, what it has led to, and what probably would, like, happen in the later phase. For example, let me give you a simplified insight associated with it that will give you a better understanding of it. In the 18th century, when we are speaking of it, so in the 18th century, when we see that the European society was undergoing tremendous turmoil, a lot of thinkers, they started asking, can we have a systematic scientific discipline which can study the society and find the problems of the society, the reason behind those problems, and effective solutions, how to solve it? मतलब क्या हमारे पास वाकई एक ऐसा सब्जेक्ट हो सकता है जो एक सिस्टमैटिक तरीके से सोसाइटी को पढ़ के उसकी समस्या को समझ के उसको सॉल्व कर सकता है? And that very aspiration, that very, I would say, desire to have a systematic scientific approach to study society whereby we can predict the future problems, whereby we can predict the future challenges, whereby we can design how to overcome or surmount those problems. That systematic inquiry is made by sociology, the discipline. For example, let me share this with you. India is a highly populous country, right? So when we know that today we are the most populous country in the world, and if we are aware that majority of the youth is not so educated, not so healthy, not employed or semi-employed, in such a situation, there will be a time period where we can see that the group of youth can get misguided by any kind of deviant crime act, any kind of deviant tendency. And that situation can pose a challenge to internal security. In extreme conditions, it can also lead to a civil war-like situation, right? Because if there is youth, there is energy. And if there is energy, okay, in that situation, if the energy gets misguided politically, religiously, in the lines of caste, in the lines of religion, in the lines of region, anything, such a youth can create a problem in terms of the harmony and order that shall prevail in the society. We can predict this problem. So the moment we can predict this problem, we will always ask that how this problem can be surmounted. So we'll be like, okay, so we should pay specific attention to education and healthcare. Then we'll ask, how much attention are we paying? Then we come to know, oh, the government is spending something like less than 3% of the GDP on education and less than 3% on healthcare. In majority of the situations in past 3 decades, it is less than 2%, right? So in such a situation, what is going to happen? Then we are like, okay, if there is less expense on education and healthcare and population of the youth, the youngsters is ever increasing, the challenges associated with education, healthcare is also going to impact the skill development. The skill development is going to impact the employment, and further, with the problem of the employment, there will be a problem of the crisis experienced by youth. If the youth is not getting sufficiently employed, anyone can misguide the youth. So this, if we really want to solve this problem in a long-term basis, we need to really focus on the possibility of empowering the future of India with basic human development, right? So sociology gives you this insight. What is happening? Why is it happening? What would it lead to? And how to solve it? Whereas public administration, as one of you had asked this question, Darshan, So, whereas when we speak of public administration, what can PubAd do? Public administration is associated with governance, the bodies associated with governance, the efforts that they can make associated with the process of governance, the role of masses, the common masses, we can say the role of civil society or the non-governmental bodies in the process of governance. So, it's all about administration per se, whereas sociology is about all the concerns pertaining to the society at large. Okay, I hope that's clear, Darshan. Another student who is asking that, ma'am, session ki timing kya hogi? The timing of the session is going to be 1 o'clock to 3:30, 1 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. 2.5 hours session. I will initially take 3 sessions in a week. This will be for July. In July, there will be only 3 sessions. I'm proposing Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Tuesday and Thursday won't be quote unquote an off session, because on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I will encourage you via our Telegram channel that how each one of you should get motivated to prepare notes. Okay, along with the preparation of notes, how each one of you can also get into solving the previous year question. PYQ will take at least 1 to 2 chapters to get completed, but notes making can start immediately. Okay, so that is what I'm going to start with. So it will be 3 days whereby there'll be a live session in which we are interacting, in which we are discussing about the core topic, and 2 days in the week will be devoted to how to prepare notes, how to engage with questions. So 2 days will be more I would say an informal hand holding through the group. Once within a month you are warmed up enough, you are prepared enough to take up the issue of let us say this entire game of the preparation. Once you are warmed up and you're comfortable enough, then August onwards, I'm going to take 5 sessions a week, that is Monday to Friday. Okay, no break in between until and unless it is an official holiday 15th of August or something like Diwali or Dashera. Okay. You are in second year, and when should you start the optional subject? Gurmanjot, if you are going to let's say appear for your exam after your 3rd year itself, that means next year you will be in your 3rd year, and then you will be completing the 3rd year and moving ahead for the optional in 2025. This is what probably I can sense from what your query is going ahead with. So if you are appearing for your prelims in 2025, then also you can complete your optional now, that is till December to January, and next year just solve a lot of previous year questions, join test series, and most importantly, keep updating the content. Once the baseline is prepared, a student is smarter and faster to reproduce. I mean, you can see that a lot of students who clear the exam, majority of the times they say this is their 2nd attempt or 3rd attempt or 4th attempt. So why to see the attempt at grassroots level? Why to see the attempt as getting added in terms of failed attempts? Why not to have a list of attempts whereby the base work is done beforehand and the very first attempt becomes the final attempt in terms of selection, isn't it? So prepare things well in advance. I won't advise a student appearing in 2026 to join right now. That is not advisable. But any student who is appearing next year, this is the time. Do not try to join any optional in January or February, because you will be in a total mess in the month of March. Because in May you have to appear for prelims. You know that only when you qualify for the prelims that you can write your optional subject or the GS mains papers, right? So in the month of March, you will be in a total chaos if you are studying a new subject like optional, which has no relevance in prelims. So if you're writing your prelims next year, then January, February is not even distantly advisable. And if you're writing your prelims next to next year, then also if you prepare your optional right now, then next year you will have enough time to do the basic homework per se. Alright, so this is what Gurmanjot I can advise. So Saptadarshi, as you are saying that, okay, so alright, no problem, no problem. Any student whose classes are getting you are experiencing a clash in the session, in that situation, because we have to check out the other logistics, as in the availability of the classroom, the other batches not coinciding. So what has been finally agreed upon in terms of when the batch should run is 1 o'clock to 3:30. If anyone is having let's say half an hour clash with another batch, that your batch will get over and then this session you can attend like live online. In that situation, we have created a backup of the session just in case a student is a working professional, job oriented, or is oriented to university, or is like attending some other session at that time, or God forbid is not keeping well, or there is some family function and misses the session. For that we have the backup session, so you can attend the like I would say recorded sessions simultaneously. All right, so you don't need to worry about that. And Vijay, you are saying that well, every student who gets enrolled to sociology, online or offline, has my contact number, and that student is able to have an access to me. So don't worry about the contact number. The moment you will be in the group, the sociology group, you will have a direct access to me at any given time. As I said that you can always text me. I will get back to you the moment my sessions are over. I'm little relieved, have some food, and then I'll definitely respond. So that's what. Okay, so when should we join the test series for optional? If someone has like completed the sociology optional subject and the person wants to like go ahead for test series, for that student after prelims is the best time to go for test series. Never ever join a test series till the time your basic notes is prepared. Don't join a test series because everyone is joining a test series. Join a test series only when your wholesome syllabus has been prepared once and the notes has been like your own personal handwritten notes is prepared. On my behalf, my pedagogy for teaching the students is with respect to this given area is like because you have to support a beginner student through and through. So the moment the batch starts, all of you will realize that this is how it will unfold. In the group, very frequently, I keep posting a lot of soft copies of books as well. Like I'll be posting the soft copy of dictionary, sociology dictionary, 2 dictionaries, not 1, 2 dictionaries, some basic material also related to sociology, so that if anyone wants reference related to even a micro term, you have access to the material. One. Second, every time I teach a topic, you will realize that there will be like, a handout that will be shared with the student. Handout is nothing but the dictation which is provided in the class. I save myself from all forms of dictation because I feel that dictation is a sheer wastage of time. I mean, beyond the time, I mean, all those students who have attended my like GS sessions, they know that I barely dictate for 10% of the time. Like 90% of the time, it's all about brainstorming, thinking, creating, and what more to reproduce. Any one of you who has attended either my ethics session or my essay session or my like social issues session, whatever came your way. So in that situation, you will realize this given possibility that there will be a lot of hand holding, in the sense in the class, I will be simplifying the topic. More like an informal chit chat, the way we are talking right now. You will be able to visualize the discipline. You will be able to visualize how we are going to go ahead with understanding the basics. What happened, how it happened, why it happened, what later led to that specific development, and what was the repercussion of it. I'll be drawing flowcharts and diagrams, and I'll be explaining the concept very thoroughly. And whatever I will explain, the language part of it will go to you in the form of handout. You will read the handout in advance, means you'll read whatever has been taught today and what would be taught tomorrow. Just read it. Even if you don't understand, give a quick reading and be familiar with just the terms, terminologies, maybe a few sentences that you can understand. So that next day, when I explain the concept, you are able to join the dots. You are able to visualize the entire concept. That's step 1. Step 2, I will be providing you booklets. Like let us consider chapter 1 of sociology, sociology the discipline. There are parts from that specific chapter for which a student should read IGNU. There are certain topics which should be read from T.B. Baltimore. Now, I cannot expect you to purchase IGNU and Harlembus and T.B. Baltimore, Abraham and Morgan and Ritzer, so many books. I don't expect all of you to do that. So what I have like I am going to do. Archana, I am just like addressing the same issue, that how a beginner is going to start with the course with me. That's the concern which like I'm going to address, because 3rd onwards, that is Monday onwards, we are going to start with the session. So you will realize that this is what starts unfolding for all of you. So like once you're thorough with the handout, you will realize that I will be providing the booklet. The booklet is nothing but consolidation of material from various sources. So like let us consider for a specific chapter, if you need to refer TB Bottomore, I have got paras from TB Bottomore typed and consolidated in the booklet. So booklet is nothing but academic reference material. In simple language, it is academic reference material. All the academic sources that a student should consult to understand that specific topic is consolidated in one place. So there are 3 steps to it. First, the most simplified version, my lecture. Second, the language part of my lecture in a formal sociological way, that is the handout. And third is the booklet, the academic reference sources consolidated together in the form of a booklet. Okay. So in the last batch, I had created smaller fragments. So there were 8 booklets, and every batch I tried to update some or the other part of it, because it's a very dynamic area. So it may need some kind of I would say updation. So in that situation, you will realize that a lot of segments are consolidated together and it is put in place. Alright Archana, so I hope you are getting an idea regarding how to go ahead with it. Self study कर सकते हैं क्या? किसी भी चीज के लिए यूपीएससी में आप सेल्फ स्टडी कर सकते हैं. ऐसी कोई भी चीज यूपीएससी प्रेपरेशन में नहीं है जो असंभव है, सेल्फ स्टडी नहीं किया जा सकता है. सिर्फ मेंटोर से क्या फर्क पड़ता है? स्पीड अप हो जाता है. अब जैसे मान लीजिए कि सपोज इफ यू हैव टू रीड अ स्पेसिफिक टॉपिक एंड यू आर कंसल्टिंग हार्लम्बस एंड यू आर कंसल्टिंग टीबी बॉटमोर और यू आर कंसल्टिंग इग्नू, एंड दैट इज क्रिएटिंग अ chaos for you, that okay, how much to read and from where to read and what to pick and what to leave. So the journey gets little stretched. Okay, so those students, I think majority of you have done essay with me, so you realized that just after 5 or 6 sessions, your wholesome understanding of essay, it just underwent a quantum shift just within 5 to 6 sessions. So that's what really happens. Whenever you are attending a teacher's session or a mentor's session, what happens is the process of understanding something and the process to, I would say, carry it forward, it just gets eased, and the tendency to, I would say, consolidate various elements in the process of preparation also gets, I would say, smoothened, because once the batch is over, the group does not get diluted. The students themselves, they keep posting newspaper articles or some article from EPW or some other source which they feel has a sociological relevance. So the journey continues. I mean, my groups, earlier the groups were on WhatsApp. So my group, the first group was in 2013. It still survives. I've still not dissolved that group, though majority of the students are settled in different walks of life, but the group still exists, so that if anyone wants to talk anything, the space is still there. The groups of 2017 and 18, if any student is writing mains, like last year, few students wrote mains of 2017 and 18 batch. And even today, the hand holding is done that, okay, thoda sa isko update karo. This material which I provided in 18, slightly different material is provided today. So please consult this also. Read this. This is something extra, add on. So then the student looks into it and is like, oh yeah, this is something different. So that quality updation keeps happening. So if you are once my student, you're always my student. I mean, it's not like just 1 year phenomena or 6 months phenomena or 5 month phenomena. But yes, when it comes to the rigorousness of preparation, whereby the basics are built, the contact and I would say the conversation is more thorough and systematic in the first 5 months. I mean, when the session is going on. All right. So how do I stay consistent while preparing, and how to approach the subject as a complete beginner? So Shresht, when you are a beginner, that's what I probably was sharing a few minutes back, that as a beginner, just trust your mentor. the journey will be smooth. Trust your mentor. Systematically, bit by bit, everything shall fall in place, because how to, I would say, explain the basic concepts along with the right academic sources is something that is fixed. If before starting with the classes you want to read something, then run through the NCERT books. Don't make notes. NCERT books are meant for school going children. And the sociology optional is somewhat between undergrad and postgrad courses, because a lot of material is from post-graduation and some material is from graduation. So combination of it is required. So if you want to have some basic overview, in that situation, standard 11th and 12th NCERT, running through the material, just getting introduced to some terms, terminologies is fine. But is the level of standard 11th, 12th NCERT asked in the exam? No, not even distantly. That's not the level. So if you want to like get a warm up, that's what. What if you want to start after a few months? Then when would the next batch start? Gurmanjot, I stick to my batches in the month of July, because once it is February, I would say January, once it's January, there are a lot of students who have to write prelims as well. So at that time, all the GS portions which are left, especially for, I would say, other offline sessions, like let's say other than Delhi, because I don't move out of Delhi till October. Once it gets too polluted, Diwali time, okay, then I run away from Delhi. I'm being very honest. I run away from Delhi for 10 to 15 days. And at that time, there is another professor. She is from presidency. So she takes the component of political system and political parties, political system, okay, social movements. So she is the person who also was there for the previous batch. So she would be coming and she would be taking for those 10-15 days, because I don't want to suffer from some respiratory disorder to add further woes. And she is kind enough to support me at that time. So except that specific time, I'm all the time present for this batch. So all the offline centers across India who also need me for GS batches, Gurmanjot, I travel for them Jan end onwards or Feb onwards. So that's the condition. Henceforth, the next batch again would be, most probably would be starting by June or July, like next year. This is what I plan as of now, but I don't know how the things would be there. Lakshmi, once the the enrollment is done, it is done through the website. Okay, so you will get all the details once the enrollment is done. The basics will be provided to you. Initial 2-3 sessions will be fine. I will complete my graduation in 2026. Okay, Ritobrata, if you are completing your graduation in 2026, I won't I won't try to unnecessarily entice a student just to get an admission. That will be unfair. What I will advise you, beta, that you start with IGNOU material. Just read it in your own private capacity. Don't sleep over the material. Just quickly run through the material and try to understand the basics of sociology. Right now, you don't need any kind of coaching per se. Do the coaching next year, not this year. A lot of people will be like, if you do the coaching this year, then next year this can be done, and then the next year. No, you have 3 years to go. 3 years is too much of time. This right now, for 1 year or rather 6 months, do some self-study. And the best source, the most credible source for self-study is IGNOU. Or you can also purchase Harlambus and Holborn. Do not buy the orange book. Orange book is thinner and smaller, but the delimitation of it is the case studies are of 1970s. Harlambus and Heald, which is orange color book, the case studies are of 1970s. Do not purchase that. Purchase the green or the blue book. There's no difference between the green or the blue book technically, okay, per se. The green or the blue book, which is fatter, it is latest. And it has case studies as latest as 2010 as well. Okay, so only one chapter is missing in Harlambus and Holborn, that is the blue or the green book, and that is Work and Leisure, which is there in the orange book. But I have already picked the content, what is relevant for you, and it is there in your handout. So you don't need to bother that, oh, orange wale ka wo chapter chhoot raha hai. Anything and everything which is there in orange book, a better content, better engagement and more updated engagement is in the blue book. So purchase that book if you are interested to buy one good academic book. Because see, good academic books are not like notes that you dispose it off once you are selected. Those books stay with you even once you are selected, because those books, they add, I would say, intellectual wisdom to your personality at any age and stage of life. So that will not be a book that you will discard or sell off, technically speaking. So that's one thing which I can say. So I hope, Ritobrata, your issue has been addressed. Take your time, just read IGNOU, get introduced to IGNOU, if not Harlumbus, and there are purchase a good sociology dictionary, so that if you're getting stuck in the we can say technical jargons, Oxford dictionary is good, you can buy that, and you can just do some self study. Okay, there are a lot of we can say lectures of senior sociologists on different independent topics on this UGC website. Okay, an NPTCC website. So you can listen to them also, getting introduced briefly about different topics. That will be a good source, listening to senior professors on that topic. This is an advice for anyone who's appearing for the exam in 26. All right. So can you give this is there? Okay, all right, so that's there. Again, after that, other pieces of questions. So Mira, you are asking that does this course include test series? Yes, it does include test series. Every month I conduct one test at least to begin with. In 1 month, a student is able to complete 2 to 3 chapters in the initial go. So 2 chapters or 3 chapters test is kind of easy to handle and prepare. So every month you'll start with, in every month you'll get one test. As your preparation speeds up, let's say by the time October or so, and when you are really thorough, you will start receiving tests, or you'll get tests maybe in 2 to 3 weeks rather than 4 weeks. So I'll reduce the duration and more number of chapters. Initial tests may have lesser questions, maybe 5 questions or 7 questions, so that you are not struggling, oh my God, I'm missing out on the questions. As you proceed further, I'll increase the number of questions, 10, then 15, then 19. UPSC in toto asks 19 questions. There is question 1 and question 5, which is compulsory. So that is 5. So that's 10 questions. And then you have to choose out of the rest of the questions, you have to choose 3 questions. Each question has 3 subparts, 20, 20, 10, 20, 20, 10, 20, 20, 10. So in totality, a student attempts in the UPSC exam 19 questions. Once the syllabus is completed, I also conduct wholesome test. Wholesome test means entire test of paper 1, entire test of paper 2, and then one day a combined test. You have to give 2 sittings, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1, take a break of 2 hours, have lunch, revise, get back, again paper 2. Okay, so this is how the test is also a part of the course. Okay, any student, this is not associated with GS course, alone aspirant, what you are asking. So this is about optional course. So the queries will be taken related to this dimension. Okay, Veda or any other student for that matter, when we are talking about it, when we are talking about other disciplines, so if you have taken up any other social sciences discipline, let's say a student has philosophy in graduation, or history in graduation, or psychology in graduation, you will find that there are some aspects which will help you in sociology, and yet sociology will remain unique. There is the very first chapter which compares sociology with other social sciences. How sociology, like other social sciences, has some certain comparatives, has certain similarities, has certain borrowing of ideas, and for example, because Veda, you are talking about psychology, and I think Mrinalini is also asking about psychology. So let me share this with you, that one of the noted thinkers, Herbert Mead, who is in the syllabus of thinkers. So sociological thinkers, you have 6 thinkers, out of which the 6th one, the latest one that was added almost a decade back, was Herbert Mead. And Herbert Mead was basically also a professor whose concepts have been borrowed and taken for sociology. Maybe you have heard of Herbert Mead as well. So you will realize that there is certain aspect of psychology which will also help you and assist you, but the sociology is a distinct discipline, the latest of all. That's why it is considered the youngest of all social sciences, and that's why it is considered the most scientific amongst the social sciences, because it has specific research methods and techniques to collect data, to diagnose a situation, to form a hypothesis, to test the situation, after testing the data and proving it, forming a thesis in sociology, and then I would say a theory in sociology. And that's why in sociology, unlike history or unlike I would say political science, you will find a lot of, like in political science also you find theories, but when we are talking about sociology, the method of doing research is far more scientific, it is far more exhaustive, and it is like you'll find that the methods of natural sciences are also picked up. That's why a lot of students who have, like let's say engineering background or medical background or commerce background, they really enjoy sociology and they can connect with it. You can see that a lot of toppers, especially in past few years, okay, you will find that as they are getting selected, they will be saying that they had sociology optional, but in graduation they had a different subject. So sociology proves to be a hotcake subject not only because of its scoring, like on an average it's a very consistent performer. I will request all of you who have not attended the 16th June workshop, please attend it, because I've shared the mark sheet also, the like online availability, because it's an open link, so the online availability of that workshop is already there. So when you attend it, you'll find the mark sheets of selected students, and in that all of you will be able to, like see this possibility. Okay, my blessings are there with your with you, Veda. You are appearing for the mains exam. This is the second time you texted. My blessings are there with you. I just hope and pray that everything falls in your favor and you get selected. All right, God bless you. Now, so with respect to this given segment, when we are talking about sociology, you will realize that it proves to be a consistent performer. Like this year, the topper with sociology optional has 315, Komal Agarwal. She is a girl from Devas, Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so she got 315. Last year, one of my students, Lakshman, he had 304 in sociology. Prior to that, you will again find that sociology on an average has produced students, like the toppers have had marks between 295 to 320 on an average. Highest so far is 329. That was almost 5 years back. 329 was highest so far in last 1 decade, if I speak of it. But sociology has never failed the student. That, like, you will not find that people will say that, oh my god, this year sociology का बहुत strict marking हो गया, हर साल से बहुत कम हो गया. ये सब आप हो सकता है other optionals में सुने. I won't quote those optionals because that will not be a healthy competition when I'm comparing sociology with other optional subjects. But sociology is a consistent performer. It's not like the turbulent one. Some year very high cutoff, some year very low cutoff. Nothing of that sort. It is a consistent performer, and that's why it becomes like one of the favorite choice for the students. Anything that you need to read before your first class on Monday? No, Mrinalini, if you really are curious to read something new, then probably what you can do is run through the syllabus, become aware of the syllabus, because majority of the students, they don't read the syllabus, they ignore the syllabus. So you just read the syllabus once. This is one thing. Second thing, if you really want, then like you can find online the availability of IGNU material related to the first chapter. If you want, you can read the soft copy of it, the IGNU material related to sociology, the discipline. You don't need to necessarily buy the bundle, but reading it will give you a basic overview about the subject, right? This is what you can do. So, so with respect to this, when we are further like moving ahead, there is, I hope, yeah, one more student is asking this, given, ma'am, how do you know sociology is the best optional for me? Any student who's experiencing this, that how do you know that whether sociology is the best optional for you, or if you are confused between two optionals, sociology or X can be any optional, okay? If you are stuck up with any such doubt or dilemma, the best thing is pick the syllabus. And after seeing the syllabus, ask yourself, are you feeling interested enough, curious enough to read more, to learn more? If you feel, yes यार मजा आ रहा है देख के, इस टॉपिक के बारे में और पढ़ने का मन कर रहा है, I really want to learn something much more, and what is the impact of it, then trust me, that is your discipline. One. Second, you can also reflect upon paper 2 of these optional subjects, whatever option, because paper 2 is associated with the Indian context and more associated with the current context. Maybe global context you cannot connect. Generally, paper 1 is associated with theory and global context. So paper 2 of majority of the optional subjects, humanities optionals, they are associated with the Indian context. So suppose if you are reading it and after reading it you are like, oh yes, this is something which is in news, or this is an issue which is generally there in news and I'm curious about it, that I want to learn about it. In such a situation, if you are really feeling connected to an option that yes, you want to learn more, go ahead with it. See, I won't fake it, that saying that, oh, if once you are my student, you have to get selected, you will get selected. No. The game is actually to be played by you. I will give my best. I'll give all the material, all the guidance, all the flow charts, previous year questions, exhaustive discussions, informal discussions through the group, or like in the class once the chapters are completed, once in a while discussing the previous year question, that how the questions need to be understood, whatever has been taught in the class, whether you can understand and interpret it from the perspective of previous year question or not, कि जो content पढ़ा वो question को देखकर solve करने आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है, ये चीज तो आप सीख लोगे, ठीक है. लेकिन once the lecture is over, after 5 months, every single day revising the content, having a disciplined timetable about it, running through with the content is a journey which you have to take. Any optional subject, like we teachers, because we love our subjects, we will generate enough interest. तो सुनने में तो बहुत मजा आएगा, that oh my god, yes, this is there, that is there. So you'll have a amazing journey. But only when you love the discipline, that you feel like picking the books, you feel like reading it, okay? And you not only feel like reading it, you also get into the habit of, I would say, preparing notes or consulting other sources and updating it once in a while. You can do it only when you love the subject. If you don't love the subject, then in that situation, you cannot bring in sufficient justice. Okay. So if anyone is asking that, ma'am, between X and Y optional, I'm getting stuck, which is the best one for me, or why is sociology the best optional for me? Any optional subject, whether sociology or any other optional subject, because I won't push my optional subject just because I love it, because it's my choice that I love it, right? So if you are really into the possibility of learning this discipline, ask yourself whether you feel curious or not. Curiosity. प्रेम हमें किसी से तभी होता है जब ही हमें उस व्यक्ति या उस स्थिति के बारे में उत्सुकता होती है. उत्सुकता प्रेम को बीज के रूप में बोता है. So curiosity sows the seed of love towards anything, situation, person or discipline. So if you are curious, that means you are ready to love it. If you are not curious, you are not ready to love it. As simple as that. So if you are feeling curious about the discipline, go ahead for it. It is meant for you. And when it comes to engaging with it, because see, once you are curious, you get having that sense of inquiry. And then the rest of it is associated with how the relationship grows. So the growth of the relationship, you can depend on me. That I can assure you. That if you depend on me for the growth of the discipline, I'll create enough interesting anecdotes, insights, like I'm infamous for this. I create a lot of interesting anecdotes. छोटी छोटी कहानियों से concept को समझाना और उसके बाद उसके theoretical jargons, technical dimensions, name of thinkers, which thinker is speaking what, and then building the wholesome framework of an insight is something that I definitely do. But I give a lot of interesting anecdotes and jargons because human beings are story listening creatures. They cannot engage their attention for long if they are unable to visualize it. So that visualization is something which I create quite frequently in the class without compromising with the academic and technical expertise needed for the subject. Okay, so you can be rest assured that if you are curious for this discipline, the relationship will be solid. It will be foolproof that will be created here in the session. All right. Archana, as you're asking about the fees, I am here to just focus on the academic aspect. The concerns related to fees is the concern of the management. Management takes care of all of it. I have no discretion or intervention related to the issues pertaining to fees and all that. Okay, so probably you can reach out to the management. I'm just focusing on one thing, that is how to consolidate all the goodness related to sociology and the syllabus, and that can ease your process of getting selected, and moreover gaining a sense of expertise in this discipline. That is my prime commitment and sole motive to move ahead with it. Okay, so that's what. Yeah. So along with this, as all of you are asking this, I think that majority of the concerns that you people are asking, I have taken up offline. Students, do you have any question? Feel free to ask, because online wale to dhabadhap likhe ja rahe hain. So if you have any questions who are sitting offline, please feel free to raise those questions. Any question, okay? If you have noted down or you have something lingering on in your mind, you can just raise your hand, you can just ask. In between also, even if I'm speaking, I'll get back to you the moment I complete the topic. Alright. Other than the material that I provide, what were the books we have to prefer? Okay, Jaswant, I had already shared that. I repeat myself once again. You can buy Harlambus and Holborn, the blue colored book. That is a very good base book to establish your basics related to paper 1 to begin with. Again, with respect to it, if you're interested, you can also buy specific segments related to IGNU as well. For paper 2, though there is Robert Stern, there is David Mandelbaum, there is I would say Amartya Sen and Jean Rez. So like BK Nangla is there, but I have already consolidated their insights in your booklet. Okay, so as the topic will proceed, I will tell you that what are the reference sources that you can have related to that specific topic. Anyone who has not, I repeat once again, anyone who has not attended the 16th June session, on that day, writing it on the PPT, because today I'm like just keeping it a one-on-one session, just like in a Q&A basis. But that day I was using the PPT and I was noting down that this topic, read it from this source. And I have mentioned chapter after chapter, I have mentioned which basic book should be referred for which chapter. I have already done that. Anyone who is into self-study or anyone who wants to do some personal reference, that student can go ahead with it. Other than that, for dynamic topics, I do consolidate material sometimes from journals like EPW or the sociological journals which are available, which are also I borrow sometimes articles from these journals, going to the university library, picking some paras or some ideas from there and consolidating it in the material, because this is what an expert is supposed to do, right? So no problem, Veda. You can just type your question. So other than the material, this question I have done. Okay. So any other question that you have right now, you students? No? Getting addressed. Yeah, I know they are like the common questions. Okay, all right. So there is along with that, tips for paper 1 and tips for paper 2. One of the students who was writing the mains asked that, ma'am, give me some tips. I thought, how about sharing the tips for students who are curious about this discipline? See, first thing is that when you are studying about any thinker, students, what they do is they just take the topics, that what are the subtopics of a thinker, and after taking those subtopics of the thinker, they just understand the concept. Like, let's say historical materialism, Karl Marx, they'll be just knowing historical materialism, criticism, relevance. No, that's not the standard way. Whenever you want to know about a thinker, very briefly know about the person. When you know the person, you don't get mixed. For example, social fact and social action. Okay, so social fact, Durkheim, Emile Durkheim, and social action, that is like Weber, Max Weber. But many a times beginners, when they are preparing for sociology as an optional, they tend to get mixed. Social same है ना, तो fact और action किसने बोला, confuse हो सकता है बच्चा. लेकिन जब आप जानते हो ना, Weber, what kind of person he was, what was his thought process, what kind of inquiry he made academically, you know that Weber social fact पे बात कर ही नहीं सकता है. When you know the person, you know what the person will say and what the person will not say. So getting mixed about the ideologies, perceptions, topics that a thinker has said, that will not happen. So biography is never asked. But according to me, you'll realize that when I'm taking the thinkers, Initial 5-10 minutes of the session I'll devote to introduce the person before you, so that you visualize and you know who the person is, about whom we are going to talk and the ideologies we are going to talk. When you'll know the person, you'll know the intellectual academic journey of the person. The intellectual and academic journey of the person shapes the perspectives of the person, the research methods of that person. Once you know the perspectives and research methods of the person, you know what topics they have proposed, what issues are there which they have done research on. And then the syllabus, what topic they have done the research, how they have done the research, means research methodology and perspective. Then you need to understand the criticism of it, the delimitation of it, and its present day relevance. मतलब अगर मार्क्स को आज हम पढ़ रहे हैं तो क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं? I mean, what's the relevance of marks in 2023 or maybe later 2024, 2025? Why is this man relevant even after 150 years? We need to understand that. Same is with Merton. And UPSC plays with your insight once in a while like that. As I had shared in the previous session as well. In 2014, UPSC asked a question that how do you see Merton's concept of deviance on the street? Like when there is a traffic light, how can you see Merton while standing in the traffic as the traffic light is there? How can you visualize Merton's concept over there? So if you know the theory and the concept, you can recall the concept and then you can visualize and put the theory in application. That how that theory is relevant on the street as I'm moving. Similarly, if someone there was a question related to Talcott Parsons, that how Talcott Parsons' concept of social system can be visualized in a university. Are you getting it? So application based questions are also asked once in a while. That is possible only when you are not only knowing the theory of the thinker, that what is the thinker saying or what is the criticism, what is the relevance. First become introduced about the person, then the concept, then perspective, research method used by that thinker, then the criticism, then the relevance. There is a 6-step approach for thinker. So for paper 1, I will advise know the international thinkers related to every concept, not just the Indian thinkers. For chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, try to be very thorough. This is for every student, preparing under me or else in another manner. What I'm sharing is that when you are very super thorough with chapter 1, 2 and 3, you get an extra edge in the exam. I don't know how many of you are aware of this or not, but chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 are very mathematical in precision. The first one, sociology the discipline. Second one, sociology as science. Third one, research methods and techniques. These 3 areas have generally no scope for updation. क्या update कर लोगे sociology as science में, right? So when there is no scope for updating, there is no scope for let's say doing any research or adding something new, those areas become, I would say, more, technical and concrete. So if you are very super thorough with the concept and the moment the examiner asks the question and you know the entire detail of the answer, you have a better chance to score better marks. In the sense, maybe in other chapters like chapter 6, chapter 7, chapter 8 of paper 1, the best marks that you are getting out of 10 is let's say on an average 6.5. Okay, or maybe out of 20 you are scoring something around 13 or 14. But in chapter 1, 2 and 3, you can get 10 में 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. So never ignore chapter 1, 2 and 3. They might sound little tedious, but they are one of the most scoring areas. Alright, so this is what I can suggest. So paper chapter 1, 2, 3 for paper 1, just be thorough. Memory is the game for chapter 1, 2 and 3. रट जाना. रटने से मार्क्स मिलेगा एकदम हार्डकोर टेक्निकल एरिया चैप्टर 1, 2, 3. चैप्टर 4 thinkers, I told you what has to be the 6-step approach for it, and the later chapters after chapter 4 when we start with other chapters like social stratification or politics and society, family, marriage, kinship, etc. In that you can realize that you can score very well if you are also consolidating the insights of international thinkers. Alright, so that's there. With respect to paper 2, in paper 2, please do not consider it as general studies. Sociological inquiry related to paper 2 is, देखो, एक आंसर सोशियोलॉजिकल कैसे होता है और जीएस कैसे होता है, उसका बस एक बेसिक फर्क है। जीएस में आप बेसिक डायमेंशन बुलेट बुलेट करके लिख देते हो, दिस इज द सेगमेंट। द आंसर बिकम्स सोशियोलॉजिकल व्हेन यू प्रूव योर पॉइंट थ्रू one, either a thinker is saying that, because the thinker has done the research, and after doing the research the thinker is proving the point, right? You are not doing any research, you are not a researcher, so you have to make your answer sociological by proving your point, that how your point is logical, how it is validated. So you prove your point when you are quoting a thinker, because a thinker has done the research and concluded the same points which you are writing in the answer. So recall a thinker. Suppose you don't remember a thinker, okay? In that case, remember any report, any case study, or anything which is published in one of the standard leading news dailies. And remember, preferably remember we can say the author of that article, because the person who's writing it has some proof to validate the point. The person is not publishing the article just because the person feels like. There is always an intellectual backing to what a person is saying, right? So in that situation, you can quote news articles, you can quote reports, you can quote surveys. That is something which makes your answer sociological. In GS, it is not necessary to always quote all the kinds of surveys and reports. Even if you are missing the name of the survey, but you are writing that in one of the recent survey XYZ report, or sometimes people even miss that India recently got ranked so and so, and then just going on ahead with it. No, here you have to validate your point. You have to back your point to make it sociological. Whether the examiner is asking, write the answer from sociological perspective or not, whether the word sociological perspective is mentioned in paper 2 or not, the answer at all times has to be sociological. It should not be written like GS. See, the topic of land reforms is there in GS paper 3 economy, and the topic of land reforms is also there in sociology paper 2 rural agrarian social transformation. So how is the answer of land reforms going to be different from, like, let us say what you write in GS? So in GS, you are not going to quote thinkers. Here I'll give you a list of thinkers and what they said related to the approach of land reforms taking place in India. Got it? So answer becomes sociological like that. A lot of topics will be similar in paper 2 especially. You will see that a lot of topics, like I told you, family, marriage, kinship, topics associated with social change, topics associated with education, constitution. There are topics related to illiteracy, poverty. Okay, you will find that the topic associated with caste system, they are there in GS also. So there is a similarity of topics massively in paper 2. In the previous session, I had said, and I repeat once again, that there are a lot of similarities. Like in paper 1, certain topics are similar with history. Like chapter 1 of sociology is similar with European history. Again, you will find that there are topics associated with Indian history which go in consonance with sociology paper 2. You will find Indian society, the component in GS paper 1, Indian society, directly in consonance with, we can say, sociology. In human geography, you have population and urbanization. Parts of it, not the entire bit, but parts of it is also there in sociology paper 2. In paper 2, GS paper 2, you have Indian polity, like certain commissions, like National Women's Commission, Human Rights Commission, certain reflections of it, certain, like let's say case studies or certain specific incidents that have taken place of it is picked up, and that is also taken in consideration. Again, you will find that with respect to governance, you have NGOs, you have self-help groups, you have, I would say, civil society, you have pressure groups, all of this in governance. These topics are there in sociology as well, paper 1 as well as paper 2. Social justice of GS paper 2 is directly in consonance with sociology. Again, when you further move ahead, GS paper 3, certain parts of economy, not entire economy, certain parts, like certain parts of agriculture, because you have rural agrarian social structure, rural agrarian transformation, that goes in consonance with sociology paper 2. Again, in paper 4, one of the subtopics, that is inculcation of values by family, educational institutions and society, is something, the underlying current of it is dealt with very thoroughly in sociology paper 2. Okay, so this is how it's going to help you in 4 GS papers. It also helps you in the component of interview, because in interview, to make the interview smooth, one of the first questions which the board members generally tend to ask is what is happening in current scenario, isn't it? And what is generally that they pick in current scenario? What is happening in the society? So they're like, recently this incident happened. What is your take on it? Or sometimes they give you, they expose you in the situation. They like present a case study like situation that, okay, suppose you are posted in this place, and suppose there is a mob that is attacking, or suppose there is a protest going on and suddenly the protest becomes violent, and suppose that has really happened, okay, in some part of India. And they're like, what would you do as an IS officer? So you see that in interview, to make the questions reflective and engaging, sometimes sociological reflections, insights and facts that you have studied are also picked up. One more thing, if you have sociology as optional, be prepared with the theoretical part even for interview, because once in a while amongst the 4 members who sit in the panel, one of them is a sociologist. Okay, one of the ex-members I know was a sociologist. She is from Chhattisgarh. Okay, so once in a while, one of the academicians can be a sociologist. Seeing that you have sociology as an optional can invite questions in the interview, and once you are able to give those answers profoundly, you have an advantage to get good marks, right? In general, what is put to test is your understanding about the society and sensitivity towards the people. If your understanding about the society is good and your sensitivity towards people is profound, it gives you extra marks. Okay. Another thing which I can say is in essay. In essay, it has been helping tremendously. If I talk about topic related to education, in past 30 years, 16 times topics have been asked related to education. If I speak of women, out in past 30 years, 12 times topics have been asked related to women. Just two chapters, education and women. And you can see that there have been more than 25 questions devoted in last 30 years related to these 2 topics only. Other than that also, you will find that the concerns of society laced up also qualifies for essay. Nowadays, when philosophical essays are asked, for past 2-3 years, you can see section A, section B, both are devoted to philosophical essays. If you decode the philosophical statement, the concern is largely associated with the broader concerns of the society. Okay, so there also you will have an advantage, because once I start teaching the topics and the chapters, you will realize this happens, okay, in this given situation, that as I keep empowering a student about the topic, I don't stick to the explanation which is only sociological. Once in a while, I also help you recall, oh no, this topic was also asked in essay, or this topic was also asked in GS. This is the advantage of probably teaching the GS papers or essay paper also, that you can draw the contour and the similarity, helping a student to remind that देखो यहाँ नहीं पढ़ रहे हो, सिर्फ sociology में काम वहाँ भी आता है. तो that is something. For example, a topic modernity, सोशल चेंज का एक टॉपिक जो कि मतलब योगेंद्र सिंह वाई सिंह सर का है, तो वो जो टॉपिक है ना, like when we are talking about the dimension of modernity and in Indian tradition, so you will find that that topic has got its echo in GS paper 1 in past 7 years 4 times. 4 times. It's so very important. ठीक है, तो कास्ट सिस्टम जैसा चैप्टर, मॉडर्निटी एंड सोशल चेंज जैसा टॉपिक्स, ये बहुत रिपीटेटिव है जीएस में, पेपर 1 में बार बार पूछता है. Okay, so that is something which will be helpful for you. Veda, this year you are writing mains, no? You were saying that. So why do you want to change your optional right now? I don't think so. You need to change your optional right now. You just need to focus on mains this year. Okay, don't bother to change your optional right now. Just focus on what you are dealing with. All right. So, ma'am, if we have once completed the syllabus, then from where should you update it? Okay. Once you no, Kiran, what you're asking, I'm not associated with that platform for past 2 years. I'm glad that you looked for my course and you came here, but and you're curious about sociology as an optional, but presently the platform through which you are interacting is the platform from where you can continue to interact with me. All right. Okay, Gurmanjot, as you are asking that once the syllabus is completed, from where you should update it? You should update it from all relevant academic source. This is what probably I can share, right? So, as I will be like completing the topics, I'll keep sharing that for which chapter, from where to update. For example, once the chapter 1 is done and I have told you how to prepare the notes, how to go about with the things, there is less scope for updating chapter 1, 2 and 3. But in other chapters, like let's say social movement, if I'm saying, suppose a student prepared social movement chapter in 2016 batch, suppose I'm saying, or 17 batch. Hashtag Me Too movement had not started then. But I told this specific aspect to the students while discussing the dimension of social movement, that social movements can be of different types. It can be environmental, political, economic, and it can be associated with peasants movement, tribals movement, different ethnic groups movement. So I discussed the diversity and depth of it, right? Now, a student should have a wisdom that if like let's say in 2019 people are discussing about hashtag Me Too movement and a lot of women are coming like, before the larger audience on social media and they are talking about how men have misbehaved with them in the past or taken advantage of their situation in the past. And those women are talking about that personal, we can say, crisis that they suffered from in their life publicly, openly, without any fear, guilt or shame. Or even if there is a looming sense of fear, guilt and shame, they're like, just surfacing up, they're coming up before the people, they are declaring that this is the wrong that they underwent, and that needs another level of bravery or courage, I must say. So when they are doing that, and that is under the hashtag Me Too movement, whereby more and more and more women kept getting added. So when the momentum got created as that of a movement, and that's why it was called a Me Too movement, then a student should have the wisdom, Harmanjot, that it was Gurmanjot, sorry, Harmanjot was another student whom I had. So Vinayak, the platform from which you are attending this session, from this platform itself, the sessions get connected. If you actually look at the top of the session, I mean where it is written Sociology FAQs, and if you touch it, you will find all the details of the course, the form, etc., whom to reach out. Okay, so I hope your query is addressed, Vinayak. All right. Till you joined the session quite late, Vinayak, I have addressed this issue that the course would be over by December. Okay, so that's what. You can just reach out on that platform. I mean, you can just make a call and you can get all the details, whatever you need. Okay, so now with respect to this, Gurmanjot, as you are sharing or as you are asking, so topic after topic, I'll keep sharing that from where you can pick the insights and you can keep updating the content. Okay, so keep doing that. I'll always indicate, because see, I don't know what is going to happen in 24 or 25. What if you're writing your mains in 24 or 25? So I'll develop that wisdom that what are the tentative sources or tentative situations which, if they occur, should be updated in sociology paper. That wisdom shall be given, right? So till the exam or only till the syllabus ends? No, this is, the course will be available, like all the technical details, Vinayak, will be provided to you over the call. So please make the call to the management. They will take care of your queries. All right. All right. So any other questions? I think I have taken majority of the questions. Yes. Okay. So, sociology, like, this is the last bit that I will share. Sociology is a discipline which is not only associated with classroom. It is beyond classroom. Once you are very thorough with this discipline, it makes you not only a sensitive person for the society, but also a meaningful human being for this earth, this ecosystem. You become more answerable, you become more connected with respect to what is unfolding in and around you, and you start understanding the logic, why something is happening, how it is happening. Means whatever is happening in the news, you're reading some newspaper, some article, something, but you start understanding the larger design of it, that what is happening is not happening in isolation. All these things which I have studied in the subject in different chapters has a logical corollary to what is flowing in the newspaper in current scenario. So you have a better understanding of the worldview, about your immediate reality, your immediate society, and you become connected with the larger phenomena which is unfolding in India or world. So that's the potential of this discipline, beyond making you an IS officer or getting you selected in any civil services exam. Any, because there is center as well as state level civil services exam. So beyond the civil services exam, it also adds quality to the way you observe the world. You understand the world and you analyze the unfolding of reality for the world. So this is what. So this is it for today. I think the session has been able to address majority of your questions and concerns. Still, if there are any questions or concerns, please let me know. Monday onwards, what will happen is that when the management keeps handing over the admission list, I will create a group, and bit by bit I will start adding the numbers of the students who have taken admission, because it's the job of the management. When the management gives me the name that ma'am please add this student, so I keep adding it, and there is a possibility that maybe some student has taken admission and on third the student is like, oh, my name is not in the group. So don't get appalled. Bit by bit things start falling in place, and once you are incorporated in the group, you will find access to a lot of content, a lot of insights, a lot of discussion, and bit by bit the vibration of this subject will start impacting upon your thought and idea. Okay, so let's hope to meet on Monday, and with the group, with the material, with the discussion. The handouts will be shared to you in soft copy. The booklet will be shared to you in hard copy. Okay, so this is it as of now. So thank you for being there, and we shall meet once again. So thanks and take care. Bye. If offline students have to ask any question, you can just ask. Any question, anything that you have. Okay. There's something I have provided. If you want to see the PPTs, you can just at 1.5x speed or something, you can just see the 16th of June workshop. So if you see the workshop, you'll see that it was slightly different from what I did today, because I wanted to keep the uniqueness intact, so that if a student is attending the session once again, the content is not repetitive, though concerns will be similar, but still. Done? Take care. So all right then, let's hope to meet on Monday. All right, and take care all of you, and